Good afternoon and welcome to Healthcare Partners Nevada Doc Talk on self-care. My name is Lisa Tunison and I'm the Community Events Specialist at Healthcare Partners. Our team typically hosts and attends in-person events to connect with our Southern Nevada community and share the exciting things that we're doing as an organization to care for our patients. Although we're not currently able to connect with you in person, we're thrilled to have launched virtual events to connect with you from the comfort of your own home. We appreciate you joining us today to learn about self-care from our West Craig My Generation Senior Clinic provider, Dr. Wenner. Before I turn it over to Dr. Wenner, I'd like to introduce Charlene, who has joined us today to share a bit about her role as a certified sales agent.
Hi, Lisa. I am Charlene Walden. I own Walden Insurance Services, a local company here in Las Vegas. We offer all of the Medicare Advantage plans that Healthcare Partners accepts. We do, because of the situation that we're in, not being able to see people in person, we've got virtual community meetings. So if you call the number on the screen, that's my direct line. I can send you an invite to learn about Medicare, have a Medicare 101, and then we can do it one-on-one, or you can come to the meeting as well. We found it very effective in these days, and we are able to enroll people electronically. Whatever their needs are, that's where we're going to meet you and make sure that we check your doctor and your prescription drugs and things like that to make sure that the plan we put you in is the right plan for you. So again, if you're turning 65 or you just have questions about your current Medicare health plan, customer service issues, please feel free to call me. I can certainly help you with that as well. I've been offering Medicare health plans for over 15 years now. So there's probably not a scenario I haven't run across. So just give us a call if you'd like some help. Again, the number's on the screen, 425-530-3669. That's my cell phone number, and 702-483-6806. That's my office line.
Thank you, Charlene. We appreciate it. Charlene will be available to answer any Medicare or insurance-related questions at the end of the presentation. Before I turn it over to Dr. Wenner, I'd like to share a bit about Healthcare Partners Nevada's network. Healthcare Partners Nevada, an Intermountain healthcare company, is a network of nearly 300 primary care providers and more than 1,500 specialists. With medical clinics and specialty care affiliates throughout the Las Vegas, North Las Vegas, Henderson, Pahrump, Mesquite, and Boulder City, Healthcare Partner Nevada is committed to delivering the highest quality care to all of our patients. Through a coordinated care model, Healthcare Partner Nevada provides patient-centered, comprehensive primary care, specialty care, and urgent care services. We're incredibly proud of our My Generation Senior Clinics that offer concierge-style primary care for our Medicare Advantage patients. In fact, we're opening up 3 new locations this summer, most recently our Blue Diamond location at Decatur. Founded in 1996, Healthcare Partners Nevada became part of Intermountain Healthcare System in 2019. Intermountain is an integrated health system with clinics, physician groups, hospitals, and telehealth services across Intermountain West, primarily Utah, Southern Nevada, and Southern Idaho. And with that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Wenner.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Lara Wenner. I'm a primary care provider at one of our clinics on West Craig, which is in North Las Vegas. And today I'm going to go over the practice of self-care. We're going to learn why it's important to practice self-care and the different types of self-care that you could focus on as a regular practice. And then also I'm going to give you some ideas about how to make this a regular practice in your life. I turn off my video so you can focus on these slides. So whether it's daily or weekly, any regular practice can be beneficial. So as we've learned in the last 2 months, outbreaks can be stressful. And during the current pandemic, people may be feeling a whole variety of emotions like stress, fear, anxiety, and different people can be impacted in different ways. So you may be worried about your own health. You may be worried about the health of your friends and families or your coworker. You may notice that you have some changes in your sleep or your eating patterns. You might have some difficulty sleeping or concentrating, and in some cases, people are increasing their intake of alcohol, using tobacco, and even drug use. So the first step in practicing self-care is to take the time to understand how you're feeling and what impact the situation has had on you. So in essence, it's important to listen to your body and acknowledge and accept what it's telling you. So who's at higher risk? The CDC states that people who are at higher risk for severe illness are also at increased risk for stress due to COVID-19. And these are older adults, the senior populations, and also people with underlying health conditions in any age group. Other things to consider are that older adults and people with disabilities are at increased risk for having mental health concerns such as depression and anxiety, and that mental health problems don't just present as mental problems. They can present as physical complaints like headaches, stomach aches, fatigue, or cognitive problems such as trouble concentrating or decreasing memory. You might also notice, like I stated before, changes in your appetite, either increased or decreased, and changes in your sleeping pattern, either not getting enough sleep or sleeping too much. So medical professionals may be more likely to miss these mental health concerns when you're talking to them because they're focusing on the more serious underlying health conditions, diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, respiratory disease, things like that, and they're missing those clues to what's going on with your mental health. And also one of the things that medical providers sometimes do is chalk these kinds of concerns up to a normal part of aging. And although some of these symptoms can be a normal part of aging, it's important not to take that for granted and to really listen to what the patient is telling you and making it clear to your doctor what's really going on with you. So, what are the benefits of self-care? So, according to Harvard University, self-care, as it is implied in the title, means paying attention to yourself, caring for yourself, and doing things that support your physical and your mental health. During times of stress, self-care is one of the first things that people ignore, and that can lead to an increase in chronic stress, burnout at your job or with your family, and a longer lasting state of depression. If these issues aren't managed, it could cause other serious health issues. But keep in mind that if you're responsible for the health and well-being of others, you're no good to them if you aren't caring for yourself. And we see this a lot in the medical field. Medical practitioners are probably some of the worst offenders when it comes to regularly practicing self-care. But you can't be any good to someone else if you're no good to yourself. So there are many different areas to consider regarding support of your health and well-being. And here are some examples. The mind, which is your mental health, the body, which is your physical health, and the soul, which I like to label as your spiritual health, and whatever practice that means to you. We're going to start with self-care of the mind. Here are several examples of how to practice self-care of the mind. These aren't everything, and it's going to be different for different people, but these are just some examples that you could look to start a regular practice in your life. And even with the self-quarantine, stay-at-home, social distancing, these can be easily accessible. So the first one is learning. There are online classes that you can take, even cooking classes. You can experiment with new recipes. You can learn a foreign language. There are a lot of ways with YouTube and other platforms to learn something new, and this may be something that you spend some time on that would give you some increase in peace and helping with your mental state. The next one is reading. This could include books or magazines. If you're one of our senior populations that has some vision challenges, then consider audiobooks. There's a lot of platforms out there where you can do books on tape. And just because you do these things doesn't mean that you have to do it all at once. You could do a little bit every day of reading or listening to a novel. So writing is also an area to explore. If you're creative, you can do poems or short stories, but if you don't have that creative gene, it could be as simple as writing in a journal or writing letters to friends and family. My mom loves to write me letters, and I love getting them. So for myself, one of my favorite practices when I've had a hard day is to just journal one good thing that happened that day, and then I can end my day off on a positive note and start again the next day. The next category is play. So stimulating the mind in some sort of playful way, playing games with family members that you're quarantined with. You can do puzzles, you can do brain games. You can even do games online. There's a lot of platforms where you can play card games with other people you know, people you don't know. So you can turn it into a social thing that will also help with self-care of the mind. And the last one I'm going to mention is meditation. And I got to tell you, in my practice, whenever I bring this up to patients, the perception of meditation always blows me away because most people have tried it and think they're doing it wrong. And I want to assure you that there is no right or wrong when it comes to meditation. It doesn't have to be done a certain way. It could be as simple as sitting in a chair, closing your eyes and taking some deep breaths in and out. And I think one of the misperceptions that I come across a lot when I try to give patients this example for improving their well-being is that they think they need to clear their mind in some way. And I'll tell you right now, you have 60,000 thoughts going through your mind in a day on a daily basis. And there is no way that you're going to be able to shut your mind off to all of those thoughts. So what the practice of meditation is ideally for is learning how to focus what you're thinking of. And I say practice because like any new hobby or habit, this is a practice. There are very few people who are good at it when they first start, and it takes practice to get to the point where you feel like you're doing it comfortably. So don't give up on it if you try it one time and it doesn't go the way that you expect. Lose all your expectations and just breathe in and out, and if those random thoughts keep coming through your head, try to refocus on your breath. So the next category we're going to talk about is self-care of the body. And the first one is the most obvious one. Of course, exercise comes into this group. And I would encourage you, if you're not an avid exerciser, to start simple. This does not need to be complicated. You don't have to buy some fancy equipment. You don't have to join a gym. You can do something as simple as waking up every morning and doing some stretching. You could take a walk outside or even around the house if you wanted to do it that way. So it can be very, very simple to start, and then once you get comfortable, you can build up your practice and your endurance. There are a lot of platforms for this as well. YouTube has a vast array of videos of different types of exercise, and some of them are even chair exercises, which I do encourage those people with musculoskeletal or orthopedic issues to start with exercise in the chair so that you don't injure yourself, because we know if you injure yourself, you're probably not going to go back to it. Number 2 is go outside, get some fresh air, get that vitamin D. This is beneficial to both your mental as well as your physical health. This time of year, I would encourage you to be mindful of the heat. And if you're going to exercise outside, you want to do it in the early morning hours or later in the day as the sun's going down, and make sure that you're getting adequate water intake. So half your body weight in ounces of water per day is what you should be shooting for, and nobody wants you to, compromise your health when you're trying to care for your body. So just be mindful of that as well. So eating healthy. In the last 2 months, one of the constant themes that I've run across with my patients who I'm talking to is they have the perception that they cannot get healthy food. I gotta tell you, I have been in the grocery stores and all they have left are fruits and vegetables, and it's not that hard to find some lean protein. It seems like early on people had a run on all the processed food, so that's not what you're gonna likely find on the shelf. But you've got access to a lot of fruits and vegetables, and those are the main staples of a healthy and nutritious diet. I know it's not exciting, and it might, to some people, not be as enjoyable, but it will sustain you. And if you start eating better, you will notice after some time that you not only have more energy, but you sleep better and your brain works better. So this is definitely something to keep in mind. Sleep. Who doesn't love sleep? Getting proper rest gives all the systems of your body a refresh. And even if things aren't normal right now, and I know that in some people's lives it's not normal, it's important to sleep like it's going to be a normal day. I would recommend that you go to bed at a reasonable time, and that when you wake up in the morning, you get out of bed and you act like it's a normal day with a regular routine in place. This will help with your circadian rhythms and to give you a good normal sleep pattern. And even if you're finding it difficult to sleep, you go to bed at a normal time and you're tired and you're having difficulty falling asleep, don't underestimate the value of just resting. Closing your eyes, relaxing all your muscles, and even if you're not falling asleep, just lie there without the expectation, and you can find that can be a very peaceful experience as well. And sometimes if you're able to relax enough, you'll just fall asleep without even noticing. This last one, I'm not going to be the one to tell you to avoid alcohol completely because I'm not a hypocrite, but I will say be mindful about your alcohol intake. Avoid excessive alcohol for the obvious reasons, but also because going back to eating healthy, if you're trying to keep your weight low and you're not as active as you normally would be, and you find that during this stay at home you're gaining some weight, alcohol has a lot of calories. And if you're having multiple drinks a day, that can be a lot of empty calories that don't really serve you nutritionally. So this is definitely something to be mindful about and pay attention to. Okay, so our next category is the soul. And this one is my favorite because it is often overlooked, but it can be just as beneficial as the other two, sometimes even more so, because this category is about connection and contribution. So, declutter. When we first started this stay at home, I found I had a lot of free time on my hands at home, not being able to go to the places that I usually get to go to. And so I made a plan that I was going to declutter my entire house. And I went room by room over the last 8 weeks, and I pulled everything out of everywhere, every closet, every drawer, and I made sure everything that went back in those places was something that I actually wanted. I got to tell you, it was cathartic. And by the time they finally opened up the Goodwill donation centers, I had about 3 carloads of stuff that I was able to pass on to somebody else who could possibly it. So that was a good feeling as well. So this can be a valuable thing to clear out the clutter in your living space, which may give you some energy in your life. The next one is connection. So just because you're staying at home and you might not have the kind of access to the people in your life that you're normally used to, doesn't mean that you can't connect with them. So calling them on the phone, video chatting, like my mom does, you can write them a letter or send them a card. You can play games while you're online, and then social media is another avenue to connect. So you don't have to be lonely or alone, and you don't have to feel isolated. There are people out there that are most likely feeling the same way that you're feeling. So reach out and connect with them. bet they'd appreciate it. No, it would do you some good. Help is really about where can you give your time? Donating, like, if you're decluttering, donating the goods to different organizations. If you're able to volunteer, this is a good way to also give back. And one of the simple things that you can do is checking on your neighbors. Assist friends or family, if especially the ones that are disabled. If you feel comfortable going to the grocery store and your neighbor doesn't, offer to get some things for them. You're already going. This would be a good way to give back. One of the best ways to feed your soul is to focus out. If your attention is on others, then it gives you a break from thinking about yourself. And sometimes thinking about yourself is one of the biggest sources of stress. So this would be a good way to serve your community as well as the world. So the next one is disconnect. I've had some firsthand experience with this because this year for Lent, I gave up Facebook and I didn't even miss it. I thought I would be going nuts and trying to check it every day, but really those 6 weeks were the most peaceful, despite being in the middle of a pandemic. And it eliminated a lot of drama from my life, which was really refreshing and energizing. I did not realize how much drama was draining and fatiguing. So this was a good practice because it showed me what I can and can't live without. The other thing that I would look at is how much are you watching the news? You can get news 24/7 these days, but really, should you watch it that much? I mean, it seems like it's a repetitive assault on your senses. I don't begrudge anybody the right to stay informed, but how much is too much? And this could be an area where you could look at to see if it is creating more stress in your life. This last one is my absolute favorite. Being grateful, practicing gratitude, taking the time to acknowledge your blessings. You may not be in the right state of mind to do this right now. Some people are, some people aren't. So what I would say is keep it simple. Start with writing down the sentence, I am grateful for, and fill in the blanks. If it's one thing, if it's 50 things, it doesn't matter. The important thing is that you get something on the page. It could be as simple as, I am grateful for my favorite color, or I am grateful for my favorite food, my friends, my family, whatever it is. It could be small, it could be large. It doesn't have to be earth-shattering. And it's just a way to acknowledge that there are some good things in your life despite feeling stressed out. So I love this practice, and I think that if you continue to do it, your list may be growing longer and longer. So how do you make this work in your life? I've given you a lot of information today, and it may seem a bit overwhelming, but really creating a self-care plan is as simple as you want to make it. My first suggestion is you get 2 pieces of paper. On the first piece of paper, you make a list of things that make you happy. On the second piece of paper, you make a list of the things that you do every day. And then compare the 2 lists. And if there are not enough things that make you happy on that list of things you do every day, you might want to consider some adjustments. So this is your life. You get to decide what you enjoy and what makes you happy. And creating a life that has more of that in that is all up to you. So for each of the 3 categories that we talked about, mind, body, and soul, you might want to come up with one idea for each one of those categories. See what resonates in the categories. You don't even have to pick all 3. You could pick one that you find that sort of is striking with you most of all and come up with one idea for that. And then when that is a practice that you have in place that's solid for a while, and keep in mind it takes about 100 days to form a new habit, then you move on to a different category, or you move on to another idea in the same category. There is no right or wrong here. You can do what you want. It's your life, and you just have to decide what's best for you, and try not to make it overwhelming so that you don't judge it, because that's not going to serve you either. So If practicing self-care isn't a habit that you're comfortable with, make a plan, write it down. Set up some reminders in your calendar, or you can set an alarm every day that goes off at the time that you're going to dedicate to doing something for yourself. And sometimes I set these alarms and then I turn them off and then I don't do what I say I'm going to do. And I would recommend that you do not turn that alarm off until you have started that practice that you're committed to. So you're allowed to enjoy the time that you've allocated to focus on your own self-care. And I will tell you that there may be people in your life who have their own agendas and they love you and they want what's best for you, but they can sometimes suck up the time that you're trying to give to yourself. So it's really important that you set boundaries with the people in your life. If they love you, they'll understand. You are allowed to take this time and without apologies or excuses, and you need to really drive home the point that self-care is not selfish. You don't give this time to yourself. Nobody is really going to give it to you, so you're allowed to take it. So that's something that we all should be focusing on. There are people in your, try to interfere with it. So, before we get on to questions, I just want to read you a quote from one of my favorite poets. Her name is Danielle Kepke, and she is a self-described mental health advocate. And when I am having a difficult day or feeling stressed out, and I read this, it helps me refocus my energy and gain some perspective and balance. So I'm going to read it to you. If I've learned anything from life, it's that sometimes the darkest times can bring us to the brightest places. I've learned that the most toxic people can teach us the most important lessons, that our most painful struggles can grant us the most necessary growth, and that the most heartbreaking losses of friendship and love can make room for the most wonderful people. I've learned that what seems like a curse in the moment can actually be a blessing, and that what seems like the end of the road is actually just the discovery that we are meant to travel down a different path. I've learned that no matter how difficult things seem, there is always hope. And I've learned that no matter how powerless we feel or how horrible things seem, we can't give up. We have to keep going, even when it's scary, even when all of our strength seems gone. We have to keep picking ourselves back up and moving forward. Because whatever we're battling in the moment, it will pass, and we will make it through. We've made it this far. We can make it through whatever comes next. Thank you.
That was beautiful. Thank you, Dr. Wenner, for that. I'm going to open it up to see if anybody has any questions on our topic today of self-care. And if you do, there's a chat bubble at the bottom of your screen. You can click on that and ask your question. And then while we're waiting to see if anybody has any questions, I'll open the floor back up to Charlene. If you'd like to sign off and say goodbye to everybody, that would be wonderful. Again, Lisa with Healthcare Partners. Charlene?
Oh, thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Dr. Wenner. That was a great speech. I just wanted to remind everyone that, again, we offer the Medicare health plans. We are doing a lot of things electronically these days, virtual community meetings and one-on-one appointments, all over the computer, electronic enrollments, things like that. Given the atmosphere that we're in. So please give us a call. We'd love to invite you to one of our virtual community meetings.
Thank you, Charlene. And Dr. Wenner, congratulations on the decluttering of your house. Every day, that's my goal. I'm going to do a little bit, and you're inspiring. So